In this video, I want to talk about Backrooms Level 95, also known as the Underneath. There's no real way to give this one a proper intro just because of how weird it is, but all I can tell you is that every single person who has gone to the Underneath has never come out. They've all gone missing. So you couldn't even survive this level if you wanted to. So with all that said, leave a like if that sounds awesome, and let's go ahead and get into the explanation of Backrooms Level 95, shall we? Level 95 is the 96th Backrooms level in the catalog of lore, and it has been classified as a class undetermined because of all the weird properties and information that we just don't know about. The actual level has two distinct parts, the upper area and the underneath. And you can tell, just based off the name and what I've described, which one is the worst part. So let's go ahead and get into the safe part first. The upper area looks to be a series of corridors and offshoots made in a pretty bizarre architectural way. The walls are made mostly of bricks here, and sometimes in stone, but they can range from being enormous in size to being claustrophobic in size. Walking through the level itself is very hard, because the floor and the design is very odd. There's very skinny walkways and steep drop-offs to the underneath below, and in some areas there's very little light. And some of the floors are just missing huge chunks of actual floor, so you're gonna have to walk in tightrope on these little tiny brick paths. Randomly throughout this upper area there are windows that are placed, and bright white light is shining directly through them. People are advised to not approach these windows at all, since they might actually be window entities and they might take you in, but if you want to know what's outside the window, there's really nothing, because it's just a void of white. No actual outside area has been seen, therefore the actual location of this level can't be really guessed. We have no idea where it's at. The level is extremely empty though, beyond what I just told you, especially in this upper part. There's hardly any other features at all, and because of this, any sound that you might make will echo and reverberate off of these sloped walls and hallways. This will actually work against you, because if there are entities somewhere, then they're pretty much getting alerted to where you're at, and you're ringing the dinner bell just by walking around. So if you are here and you come here on purpose, try to make as little noise as you humanly possibly can. Another unique feature of the level is that there is a strange scratching and clawing and whispering sound coming from behind the brick walls. Now the sounds don't appear to have a physical source or something making them, but they do come from behind the bricks, and you really can't see or understand what's making them. Not yet, at least. More on that later. Very rarely while exploring this upper part of the level, you will locate the dreaded staircases that lead to the underneath, which is the floor below the main part of level 95. Essentially, everybody who has gone down to the underneath and has tried to explore it and map it out has gone missing, and no one really knows what's causing it because there's no information available about it. What we do know is that the underneath is accessed by these staircases, and it is completely dark with no natural lighting at all, and almost nothing is documented because of how dangerous it is. The area seems to kind of be a rundown basement or bottom floor of an old house or building. There's dust, there's rocks, there's dirt and debris scattered on everything, and it's just a disgusting, dark, dank place. It smells old, it smells rotten. Those scratching sounds and whispering sounds from earlier can be heard down here too, just much more loud. They're much more voluminous here, and it almost seems like you're right next to whatever is making that noise. You also might even hear laughter or gurgling noises as well, and again, you can't see where it's coming from, it's too dark, but you know that something's out there making those noises. The laughter specifically is supposed to be extremely unnerving to those who come here, but as of right now, no one has actually seen or heard or got a picture or anything of what might be causing these noises in the underneath. But it is thought that the underneath has an extremely high concentration of entities, and this is probably why so many people have gone missing, and it also might be the cause of the noise and the gurgling and all that stuff. Making things even more difficult in this underneath area is that microphones and cameras and anything like that just don't work. They physically can't. If you turn on a microphone and record, only static or random loud bursts of noises can be heard. These noises can't even be heard in person, they can only be picked up on the microphones, and the cameras that you try to record with or photograph with are just still black, corrupted, glitchy images. The only thing that seems to work down here, technology-wise, is battery-powered flashlights. But it is essentially a death sentence if you come down the stairs to the underneath, because no one has survived it, no one's lived to tell the tale. Even though we can't actually see the creatures that are here, it's implied that there is something in the darkness. Or there's nothing, maybe the darkness itself health consumes you, who knows? But the only way you might survive the underneath is if you don't leave eyesight of the staircase you go down. That way you can go right back up. But that's really hard to do because the underneath is a confusing labyrinthine layout of this old skinny basement with these hallways and rooms and doors. It's kind of like a maze of these really tiny rooms, and if you walk through one door, you might get lost. And then it'll be pretty much impossible to remember where you've walked through, plus no technology works, plus it's pitch black, plus there's something gurgling and laughing off in the distance and no one can see it. It's just bad overall. The levels page itself says, quote, "Traversing the lower area of level 95 is not recommended at any cost. No one knows for sure what happens down there, and is guaranteed," end quote. Like I've said, there's no real amount of entities or entities in general that can be measured, since no one's seen anything in the underneath because they haven't lived or documented it. In the upper part where there's tunnels and where there's the light and all that, you might see an entity or two. Typically these are clumps or smilers, but other than that, you're alone, and it's just infinite brick curved hallways. The dangers lie in the underneath area, and especially if you're in the upper part and you see these chunks of floor missing, you could fall down into the underneath and you won't make it out. There's been no official documentation on specifics, no reports, no concrete evidence of anything, but we have to assume that some kind of powerful creature or species of creatures lives in the darkness, or that the darkness itself is human or animalistic, and it's out there laughing and salivating and waiting to ambush any fool who gets lost here. Any attempts to explore the underneath part by a search team or individual has resulted in them going missing, and that's all you can say about it. The underneath essentially symbolizes what it is to be in the backrooms. You know, you're walking around this top area, it seems safe, there's really nothing bad, yet right under your feet, right below where you're walking, death and decay is there. And at any turn, you could fall in or walk downstairs to get there, and you know that something bad is waiting for you if you do that. And we don't even know what these creatures or whatever it is looks like. It's not mascot horror, it's not anything like that. It's just the idea and the thought of what lurks in the darkness. That is enough to scare people away. That is enough to cause people to go missing. I think this thing is super underrated personally, so leave a like if you think so as well. To enter the level, you can walk into an empty cellar in level 11, but to exit, you have to walk in the upper part with the brick hallways far enough away from where you started, and you'll randomly find a door that you can walk through to get to level 44. It's unknown what exactly the distance is it takes, but it's a long time, and you have to avoid falling into the cracks and into the underneath while you're looking for the exit. Nice. So yeah, that was level 95. It's a classic one in the lore. Hope you enjoyed it. It's one of the most dangerous, sneaky levels that no one ever mentions, but it's very deadly. But leave a like if you enjoyed it. It helps boost the channel and helps get this video out to other people. Thank you so much for all you're doing. I hope you're enjoying Broogmas so far. I say it a billion times, I love this time of year. Can't wait to share my plans with you for next year as well. The Broogly channel is just going to continue to grow and expand. I'm hyped for it. Hopefully you all are too. Thank you for everything, and I will see you in the next video. I'm going to end my yapping here. Bye-bye.